From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to the 26th season in this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, Nebraska High School Theater Academy. Joining us to talk more about it are Joan Squires, president of Omaha Performing Arts, and two NHSTA participants, Letitia Inouye, an alumna. She is now a student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and Tyler Kalinowski. Tyler is a senior at Bellevue West High School. And finally, thanks to Zoom, Kevin Morrow is also here. An Omaha native, Kevin is a professional actor with stage and screen credits, including his most recent role as Hades in the touring company of Hadestown. Thank you all so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Joan, we're going to set this stage by asking you to tell us about Omaha Performing Arts.
Sure. Omaha Performing Arts is the largest arts and culture institution in the state of Nebraska. We present wonderful performances like Hadestown, Broadway, jazz, dance, and so much more at the Orpheum, the Holland, and soon to be open Steelhouse Omaha. But I think really one of the guiding programs that we have are our education and engagement programs, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
All right, that academy started in 2013. What ignited this program? How did it all get started?
Well, we learned about the Broadway League's Jimmy Awards program that had started in New York and was starting to have regional workshops and programs. We thought, this is perfect. We can connect students across the entire state of Nebraska to Broadway here and by staying at home, and developed that program from that very first year.
How have you successfully grown this, Joan? Because it has become much bigger.
It's been wonderful. We started with 22 schools, really in the Omaha area. We are now over 85 schools, all the way to Scotts Bluff. We span 455 miles, 2 time zones, and we'll reach thousands and thousands of students across the entire state. And they have a chance to do so many things connected with our Broadway shows.
Wow, and you're not only engaging students and educators, but big stars like Kevin Morrow, who joins us today via Zoom. And Kevin, I have to ask you, how did you learn about the Nebraska High School Theater Academy?
I happen to have been on a mini tour in Nebraska over winter time on a show that shall not be named. But that's when they contacted me, realizing that I was an Omaha native, and asked me if I would do a workshop while I was in town. And I had no idea that the NHSTA existed until that point. And since then, I've tried to stay connected with them, and they have reached out to me. Fortunately, for my sake, it's been good for me, and I hope also good for the students.
Well,
to come in and do the workshops.
And again, this wasn't part of your world when you were going to high school. So talk to our viewers a little bit, Kevin, about your journey and how it might have been different with this program.
When I was in Omaha, which was, as we know, several years ago now when I graduated, no, we didn't have a program like this. And for me, what I'm hoping that I'm able to impart with the kids is myself being a professional actor, being an actor that is currently working in the business. I can let them know what it's like at this time. It's not that I've retired from it or it's something that I'm teaching. There's nothing wrong with the academic end, but there's somebody, when you're working with someone that actually knows what it is like at this particular time and has gone through all the various changes. I wish that I'd had that opportunity back then. The things that they're affording the kids to have this connection with artists that are working is just so invaluable, I think. It's not just myself. I know they have other artists that are working in New York or in LA, coming in and working with the kids, talking with them, asking, the kids are able to ask any questions that they would like of what it's really like. The The idea of it being like on YouTube or the TikTok videos and all of that, that's not real. The kids need to understand what the work is, and having professionals, that helps.
Kevin, I have to ask, they're learning so much from you. What are you learning from them?
It reminds me, working with the kids, it reminds me of that fresh energy, that the awe of this business, that spark, that light, because working this long in it, it can diminish. You can sometimes start to doubt, is this what you really want to do? But you see the passion in the kids, and it helps remind me of, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. That earnestness, that openness. The kids are also enlightening me to new music, songs that I didn't know about that I haven't followed up on, which is nice to get some new material in my book, my audition book, I must say.
Okay, thank you. Letitia, he's talking a little bit about you here when he's talking influence. You were fortunate enough to have this program be a part of your life for 3 years. Talk about the impact it had on you.
Oh my goodness. When I first moved to Nebraska in 2018, I lacked so much confidence. I was so insecure. I hated stepping on stage because I was so afraid of being seen. And so that summer in 2019, I went to NHSCA. I was in the Showcase Ensemble, and I just got so inspired. NHSCA really showed me how much potential I had and how much I could grow as an artist and as a performer. And from then on, it's just been like the opportunities that they've given me, I've just used to really just grow my craft and really just try to inspire others through that as well.
Wow, you talked about the showcase. Now, that happens every June. And interestingly enough, as I was putting all of this together, I was connecting the dots and thinking, Letitia's been a part of this for 3 years, but it was during the time of COVID. So while we see the showcase at the Orpheum Theater, that's where we'd like to see it, during COVID, really, folks thought outside the box. So you had 3 different experiences. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, we spent a week at Creighton University in the dorms, and we prepared so many songs, medleys, so many numbers, and it was just so fun to be able to work with so many other kids and so many other students who love the arts just as much as I did. And then the year after that, 2020, COVID hit, and so everything was done virtually and digitally, which was really hard because I recorded little videos in my bedroom. And it was still amazing to see how willing everyone at NHSCA and OPA were to make it happen, because it's important to just put stuff out there regardless of the kind of climate that you're in. And so, yeah, in 2020, everything was done virtually. In 2021, I was lucky enough to be chosen as a finalist, and that was done in a day. So we were sent all the music that we had to learn, and we kind of had to prepare it a little bit on our own. And then we showed up that morning, ran through it a couple times, and we performed outside of the Holland Center, which was also an amazing experience. I think it was really fun being outside and being able to perform outdoors, and also just being able to be back and working with other people was also really incredible.
I'm just looking at you in awe, because I'm thinking back to just a few short minutes ago when you said you didn't want to get on stage, you didn't really want to be in front of people, and here you are being thrown into these different situations, and you're adapting, right? You're being very flexible. I want to ask, how did you grow as a person and as a performer in all of that?
Oh, well, for one, I have NHSC to thank for that. Just working with people who support you no matter what and want to see you do well is incredible. My high school director has done so much for me, has pushed me to be the best that I could be, but also I think you need to find that confidence within yourself, and you need to be able to tell yourself that you are good enough and that you are capable. And so just like maturity and just like growing as a person, allowing yourself to fail, allowing yourself to take risks has all been super important for me, and have just helped me become the artist that I am today and the performer that I am today.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler, anything you want to add to the growth experience? No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go ahead and talk with you a little bit. The showcase did actually get back to the Orpheum Theater. I just have to ask, what's it like to perform on such a big stage?
Well, I definitely remember when I was younger watching shows on television and stuff, and the stage looks huge from the audience, and then the moment you step on the stage, you feel so small because you're looking at all these seats. And getting the opportunity to perform like a solo on stage was also absolutely amazing. It's just a really amazing opportunity NHSTA provides for students.
Well, that stage has to hold a very special place in your heart because it was that stage where you learned you were going to go to New York, right? So take us back to June, not too far back there, and tell us what goes through your mind in those moments before they make the announcement. Then they make it, and then you're just kind of standing there thinking, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny because I was standing on stage and I couldn't hear the names being announced at all. So I'm standing there and then they announce Best Actor and everyone's heads turned towards me. And I look over and I'm like, me? Like, for real? And I put my hand over my mouth and I'm just in awe. It's just crazy. It's like, wow, I'm gonna go to New York.
Well, now before you go to New York, tell us a little bit about your life in Bellevue. How did you get started in theater and music and all of that?
I've always done music, I guess, growing up. My parents were involved in like church and like doing music then. And I guess growing up, choir, I've always had a huge passion for choir. So I've done choir at school and at Bellevue West, I do choir, show choir, and I'm also involved in band there. So I love to perform, and I've always loved to perform.
Wow. Okay, so now it's been confirmed that you are indeed going, and then you have to think, how do I prepare for a trip like that? So what did you do to gear up for this huge, huge opportunity?
Well, the nice thing is they do provide a packet. So it has a step-by-step list of what you should prepare. But I think it was really challenging preparing mentally for the trip because you're going back to your house for a little bit, doing all your other stuff, and you have to almost prepare yourself for that you're going to this huge event in New York City. There's YouTube videos online that I was watching because I wanted to know more about the experience. Just normal packing, I guess, for vacation. I tried to think of it like that to help make it easier. But it was very stressful, but it was also really exciting.
Okay, so the plane lands and you get off the plane and you're thinking, okay, I'm really here. Talk to us about this itinerary. What do they have you doing while you're there?
Well, so they like to imitate kind of how Broadway actors would practice for shows. So we would do a 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So we'd usually begin our rehearsals around 8:30 that morning or 9, and we'd have a 30-minute warm-up where we'd do fun little exercises. And then we would continue into our group ensemble with all 92 participants, where we would practice the opening and closing numbers for New York. And then we'd go split off into our group assignments, which I was in a character medley this year, so I went to go practice that. And then we also got to work with industry professionals. And my person, her name was Desi Oakley, and she's known for playing Jenna on Waitress and being Elphaba in Wicked. And that, for me, was a super exciting experience because you get to sing for someone, and they get to, I guess, give you pointers and tell you what you should do or how well you're doing. But yeah.
Okay, so most memorable moment?
The most memorable moment for me was on a Wednesday night, we got to go to Sardi's and see Moulin Rouge on Broadway. But there was a moment where we walk into Times Square and we're seeing all the huge billboards around. And then someone's pointing at a screen, and then it's all of the nominees' faces, just projected on a huge screen in New York. And just, I guess, seeing my face up there was crazy. Because even just like literally going into there, I was like, it'd be so cool to be up there. And then 10 minutes later, I see my face up there. But yeah.
Now there's a big performance there in New York too. Talk about that.
So we get to perform on the Minskoff stage, which is where they do the Lion King. And it's just honestly such a great experience. It's so exhilarating. I was entering through the audience during our opening number. So there's a moment where they open the doors and the crowd is just cheering and you can barely hear anything. And you're just standing there waiting for your first note that you have to sing. But it was just absolutely amazing.
I would imagine you're still floating a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about your senior year in high school in just a minute. But I want to go back to Letitia. You are now in college.
I am.
So you leave these 3 life-changing years, it sounds like, and you are off now to college. So talk to us a little bit about what are you studying, right? And how has all of this really prepared you for what lies ahead in your life?
Yeah, so I actually, my freshman year, I majored in criminal justice and journalism. I didn't do anything art related. I was a theater minor, but I wasn't taking any actual like acting classes. And it was pretty horrible. It was not what I wanted to be doing. My passions lied elsewhere. And I realized that towards the end of like my second semester. UNL started a new BFA program in acting, and it was just like calling my name. And I immediately auditioned. I got accepted into the program, which is amazing. And so now I'm studying acting and I'm minoring in vocal performance. And I think trying to hide from the fact that I love the arts really showed me just how much more I loved it and how much more I needed to be there and needed to be doing that. And I'm so happy that that's what I'm actually pursuing. And I think through NHSCA, they've offered so many opportunities. We get to meet amazing people. I got to sing on a stage with Q Smith, Norm Lewis just a couple days ago. We get to meet people like Kevin Morrow, and it really just shows you that like things are possible if you just allow yourself to do it. And so that's what I had to do, and now I'm here and I'm doing what I love, and it's great.
I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now, Tyler, I'm sure, is listening intently because Tyler still has a little bit of high school left. In fact, he has his final year, and I would imagine you're trying to figure out, what is it that I want to do with the rest of my life? And by the way, many students change majors, and I'm just glad you did, and for the better. Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. But Tyler, you're going into senior year. You've come from this trip to New York. How was the world a little different for you then when you stepped foot into the school?
Yeah, it was kind of just like, oh, this is reality. Like, I gotta go to school and I gotta wake up for marching band in the morning. But I think a really fun experience is I get to share my experiences with everyone, especially with my theater program at West. I have, different opportunities for solo auditions and many different performance opportunities there. So I'm just trying to do as much as I can before I leave, and I want to make my impact at the school.
When you got back and when school started, was there a most commonly asked question of you other than, how was New York? Did people, I would imagine, especially the folks in music and theater, were probably wanting to know a little bit more about the trip because they're aspiring to do something similar. Talk about that a little bit.
I think a lot of people try to ask me and they're like, what was your secret? Like, how did you do that? Especially people, not even from my school, but from other places. And I think one thing that NHSDA has given me is the confidence, especially performing is such a scary thing to do, and I definitely was not confident in myself for a long time. And I think just in June, having them announce that I'm going to the Jimmy Awards, it was crazy because it boosted my confidence, but it also just wanted me to like go to other people and be like, you can do it. Like if you put in the work, if you are just yourself and you do the best you can do, you can really accomplish what you want to.
Well, you guys are amazing young people, I must say. You're certainly approachable for those kids who are wanting to know more about how to do something like this. So thank you for being who you are. Very authentic. And congratulations on all your successes. But I have to go back to Kevin Morrow now because Kevin Morrow is playing Hades in Hadestown right? And so our viewers, I'm sure, have been waiting to see you again, Kevin. Talk to us about your role of Hades.
Okay. I've tried to make him a three-dimensional character as opposed to making him the two-dimensional villain, with the twisting of the mustache and all of that. One of the things that, in terms of my research, the Greek gods, since it's a Greek tragedy, the Greek gods were infused with more human emotions. They were much more human. All the flaws that we have, as opposed to the Roman gods, were very, very godly and above the humans. So I've tried to instill in him all the flaws that we have as humans. The love, the passion, the hate, the jealousy, all of those things to help make him more three-dimensional. And there are two people that I've chosen to base the character on that I've melded together. One of them I will share with you. And it's Rowan Pope, the father of Olivia Pope from Scandal. The actor Joe Morton created that role, and I've tried to make my Hades. If he were playing Hades, what would it be like? If it were Rowan Pope, not Joe Morton, but Rowan Pope, he himself as Hades, ruling this underworld. The journey for the role has been so much fun. It's the first role that I've ever been able to play where it's a bass baritone, so I can not literally, but roll out of bed and be able to sing it. Most of the roles I've played in the past have been a bari tenor role, which I've been able to accomplish, but this one I don't have to work that hard vocally in that respect, and so I can put so much more energy into developing in other ways with the character.
Okay, Kevin Morrow, who is from Omaha, Nebraska. If you're just joining us, playing Hades in Hadestown. Kevin, in just a minute or so, because I want to get back to Joan here for a couple of minutes. If you had, and you have a very captive audience right now in our viewers, what would you share with young people like Tyler and Letitia in terms of advice for those who really want to become you, really?
Oh, well, first of all, I would say aim higher. Aim higher than me. And both of them seem to be doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Tyler, I want to say you are auditioning for everything you can. You said you have all these opportunities where you're going to school. That is what I would tell any student, someone that wants to participate, wants to pursue this career, is audition for everything that you think you're right for. Even if you're not what they say in the breakdown of that role, perhaps you can convince them otherwise. If I had sat, in terms of, let's say, Hades, a friend of mine saw the show and called me and said, I don't know if you've seen Hadestown yet, but there's a role here for you. I assumed in my head that he meant the Andre de Shields role. When I saw the show, I went, oh, that's what he's referring to. He was referring to Hades, Patrick Page. When the audition came for me, it was for the Hermes role, the Andre de Shields role. I called my agents and said, I would rather be seen for Hades. And they agreed. They went, oh, okay. I was able to convince them that I was able to do that. I would always say, go for it. If you think you're right for it, go for it, and get as much audition experience you can. Whether you get the job or not, you can learn something when you fail and move forward, which Letitia was talking about, which the two of them, they have a great head on their shoulders and they understand how this works. And they're saying all the things that I would say to any other students. One thing I did want to say to Tyler was, Desi Oakley, working with you, she was my Ariel to, I was King Triton to her Ariel a few years back.
Wow.
Just so you know that.
Kevin Morrow, I just want to thank you for all your contributions on stage and off. You're like one person in all these different places, inspiring so many. So thank you, and thanks for joining us today. I'm going to get back to Joan for the final few minutes here, because we need to talk about this 10th anniversary. We have just a couple minutes. September 9th, you officially launched that. We had students come from across the state to participate. Tell us about that.
Well, we had our Broadway Ball, and it was a chance to celebrate this program in the 10th anniversary. So we brought some of our best participants together, and they had a chance to perform with Norm Lewis on the stage for the group and to really start to launch this 10th anniversary year. We've got a wonderful video. It talks about the program, and we want to just inspire others to participate, because what you're seeing and hearing is what this program is about, and giving these opportunities to students to connect with a Kevin Morrow, to have audition opportunities in New York City, to have master classes who never would have thought about it. That's what NHSTA is. And we love this program. It's really one of our signatures because we do get to affect people's lives, and it does getting better than that.
Extraordinary. All right, so in the spirit of Save the Date, I know June seems like a long way away, but your next showcase will be when?
June 4th, 2023. It will be at the Orpheum Theater, and we hope everyone will join us. You'll get to see our next group. Perhaps Tyler will even be there. So he's got another year to go, but it's a chance to really see the best performers from across Nebraska and celebrate these programs no matter what city we're in. It brings everybody together.
Awesome. Joan, Letitia, Tyler, Kevin Morrow, all talking about the Nebraska High School Theater Academy. For more information, we're going to put up a graphic for you folks here. People wanting to learn more, opa.org, NHSTA@opa.org, and there's a little hyphen in there, 402-661-8559. As we close, scenes from Strauss Performing Arts Center at UNO is seen through the lens of Gisela Quijangana, a junior here at UNO. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at nebraskapublicmedia.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.